Hey guys, before I had you solve this problem, I gave you three choices on how you could solve it. I want to walk through those three choices with you right now. Now, the first way that I said that you could solve it is just to use our traditional algebraic methods to solve it, using processes like the distributive property, combining like terms, and then just isolating x to figure out what it equals. So let's do that first. Okay, so the first thing that you would do to solve this is you would distribute, and you would multiply your 3/10 times 12x and your 3/10 times 16, and your 4/10 times 12, and your 4/10 times negative 3x. I'm going to use my calculator to help me do this, just because I am recording this early in the morning. All right, so for my first one, I get 3 6/10 x. And then let's do 3/10 times 16. Okay, 4.8, and this is still going to be a minus 4.8. Sorry, my finger's making this a lot bigger than it needs to be. Okay, but let's do 4/10 now times 12. And I'm going to go ahead and do 4/10 times 3 so I can write all these. So this is going to equal 4.8 minus 1.2x. Okay, so I know that's not super pretty, but that's what it equals after I do my distribution. Now I'm going to combine like terms, and I can do that across my equal sign using inverse operations to isolate my x. So let me use a different color so we can see this. All right, so let me start with my x's first. If I'm going to take my x's all to one side, I can do the opposite of this. Instead of a minus 1.2, I can do add 1.2x on this side. And let's see, I believe that's 4.8x. And then I'm going to bring down the rest. I still have minus 4.8 equals 4.8. Y'all, we've got a lot of 4.8s here. Okay, I don't know if that should make us nervous or if we're okay. All right, so now I'm going to do the inverse here, plus 4.8 and plus 4.8. Okay, and so what that's going to leave me with here is 4.8x. And then I'm just going to do, let's see, what is that? 8, probably 9.6, but let me just double check. 4.8 plus 4.8. Even math teachers need to sometimes check their work. Equals a positive 9.6. All right, and so my last step here is to divide. 4.8 times x is the way that this is written here. That's what this means. So the inverse of multiplication or timesing is division. So I'm going to divide by 4.8. Divide by 4.8. And I'm going to get that x equals, let's see, 9.6 divided by 4.8 equals 2, which makes perfect sense because I did 4.8 plus 4.8 to get 9.6. So my answer is 2. When you go back to your answer choices, we should have chosen H here, okay? So that's what we should have chosen there. Now that was the first way that you could have solved this problem. I want to move through the other two really super fast, okay? So if we go back here, we see that I have these answer choices. We could use a plug and chug method, and this is where you can use your calculator again. Because 2 is my answer, when I plug it in over here, I'm going to take this side of the equation here, and I'm going to type it over here. 0.3 times 12, and this is where my x is. Well, we think that the solution for x is 2, so I could say, I could put a 2 in there with using some parentheses, and then minus 16. Okay, so what I've typed in is exactly like the left side of my equation here, except instead of an x, I now have a 2. When I press enter, that equals 2.4. If 2 is my answer, when I do the same thing over here, it should be equal to this side, which is 2.4. Let's test it out. 0.4 times 12 minus 3. Again, this is where I'm going to put my x. I think it's 2. Bam, it's equal. So I know that I have the right answer. If I had the wrong answer, we could do it real fast. Times 12. Let's plug in 4. Let's say that we accidentally got 4 as an answer, or maybe I just want to go one by one to plug these in. That equals 9.6. Let's do it on the other side. 0.4 times 12 minus 3 times 4. That equals 0. See, these two are not equal. So 4 is not the solution to this equation. All right, guys, the last way that I want to show you is one that's a little less traditional, but something that you've learned in algebra is systems, solving linear systems of equations. Now, what we could do, if we're feeling brave, is we could pretend, or we could treat these expressions like equations. And we could say that y is equal to 0.3 times 12, that side, and we could do a y equals the 0.4 times 12 side. Let me show you what I mean. If I go over to my calculator and I had some equations I needed to clear out, I'm going to put this equation in my first y equals, the first side, 0.3 times 12x minus 16. Okay, I'm treating it like a linear function. And then I'm going to go to this side and I'm going to treat this side like a linear function. Whoops, not 0.04, 0.4 times 12 minus 3x. Okay, so I'm treating these like linear functions. When I go to my graph, oh, thankfully my window's set up nice and pretty, I can see that these are equal, right? Isn't that what we care about, being equal? These are equal at 1 point. They have one solution, okay? Now, the way that we can calculate this solution is we can calc second. I'm looking for that calc above trace, so second trace. I want to calculate the intersection of these. So I'm going to choose number 5. And it's saying, what's my first curve? What's my first line? It's that one. My second line is this one. Guess I'm going to get as close as I can to the solution. All right, so it's telling me that it's intersecting at 2 and 2.4. All right, so y'all, remember when we plugged in that 2 and we had it equaled something on both sides? What did it equal? Do you remember? It equaled 2.4. Bam. Okay, and since I'm solving for x here, I'm looking at my x value, and look, there's that same 2 that we got when we solved this before. Okay, so y'all, I just showed you 3 different ways that you could solve this equation. Even if you wanted to use the first way, you could still use the second 2 ways to check your solutions and make sure that you have the right answer. Sometimes you see problems that look like this, where you have plug and chug. Other times you see problems, whoops, not back. Well, guys, I just X'd out of it. Other times you're going to see problems where you have to grid in the solution, okay? So take your time, use your strategies, and you've got this, okay?